I feel like it is most of the time way too easy to just take the footage that you don't want to show and just delete it altogether. But the thing is, you have to ask the question, why do you not want to show it to people? And in my case, I have to say that a lot of times I was quite embarrassed actually. But it is sometimes obviously a bit difficult to just figure that out by yourself. It helps a lot of times to talk with other people about it. And that is why, instead of just leaving it deleted and never showing it again, I would like to show you my top 5 mistakes I have done in my aviation career. Finding out what mistake is worse, more severe, more dangerous than the other was kind of a little bit of a sometimes tricky task for me. So I've decided to take a look at 3 main points. The first one being if during whatever I did, the aircraft could have been damaged in any form. Not on the aircraft, but also the interior. After all, if it's just a material type of damage, yes, I could go into financial ruin, but possibly in the future I could come back and fly again. Which leads me to point number 2. What if my life has either ended or permanent damage has been done towards my health? Then possibly I could never fly again in my life, nor maybe my average daily life could change immediately with one accident. And that is something that I don't want to happen. However, for me, the most difficult part would be if other people's health were to get damaged because of a mistake that I did. Now, with that out of the way, I want to step into my very first mistake that I did when I was still sitting on the ground. Let's take a look.
Delta Echo Lima for Tango at Lima 1 right now. We're gonna do the engine run up here, is that okay? And we're gonna wait for the jet there.
Hier zit nog iets op, loodtaxen. Dat ging gewoon eigenlijk entgegen.
Bus? Right.
Sofort weiter, Taxen zum Haltepunkt 08.
Guck mal weiter, Taxen 2.0, verstanden. Dachte der Fahrer.
Wenn ich schon Opa sagt, da hat es einen Grund, bitte. Da nicht dann selbstständig mitdenken beim Loten.
Verstanden.
In order to explain the situation quickly, a jet was taxiing down the taxiway, and I thought he wanted to go to Alpha and then onto the runway and depart. But no, he wanted to go through Lima to its hangar. Me, from my parking position, I was clear to taxi towards Lima and then onto holding point Alpha and onto the runway. I am completely at fault in this situation. If I would have had a better situational awareness and I would have actually listened, a few minutes prior, then I would have known that someone was cleared through Lima and then towards the hangar. Well, what can I say? The ATC got annoyed, apologize and move on with your day. What is there to learn from this scenario? Listen more to the radio and be more aware of your surroundings. ATCs are your best friends in the sky and they are professional people at it with loads of experience. I just wanted to, not stand in the path of the jet, which inadvertently caused me to stand in the path of the jet. The good thing is there was no chance of either my health, others' health, or the airframe being damaged in any form. Alright, let's move on to my second mistake that I did, which is still on the ground. This was from my preparation to go to Verona back in March. There's nothing much happening, the propeller is spinning fine. But here I realized that the choke was still on. The choke is basically the starter of the engine. If the airplane hasn't flown for the whole day, then it's best to use the choke in order to kind of help the engine get off to a smoother start. I was going through the checklist. The checklist said turn off the choke, which is a lever, and what I did is I cranked the lever all the way to the off position in one go. That led to the engine to die. Now the problem is actually what happens afterwards, and that is me just starting the engine like that without going through prior checklist.
Leaving the frontline idle and then getting rid of the choke.
I actually realized that in that moment that it was a rookie mistake, so good on me. I read further on into the pilot's operating handbook. that you're supposed to slowly pull back the choke while at the same time adjust your throttle, so that the RPM are always at a constant, in this aircraft 2000 RPM on idle. The thing that could have gone wrong here is that I could have damaged the interior, the electronics of the aircraft. And whenever you turn on the engine, there's usually an electrical surge happening, which could damage the electronics. Thankfully, nothing happened, and that definitely made me a better pilot. So let's move on to the third mistake that I've done, which in this case actually is in the air.
This is Innsbruck Information Hotel at 1350. Runway in use 08 due to Böen. Touchdown zone variable between 050 and 120 degrees 14 knots. Maximum 26, minimum 8 knots.
This is the typical meteorological conditions that can happen at Innsbruck, the Föhn, which is a southern wind coming from Italy, the Mediterranean, very dry, and most importantly, because of the mountains, very gusty. So listening to the artist and finding out that the wind speeds are varying between 8 and 26 knots, yeah, well, that gave me kind of a bad feeling in my stomach. I was reckless. In a sense, I was reckless at the moment. I decided to continue my approach towards Innsbruck Airport and said I was going to test the winds, and if anything was wrong, I would go for a go-around. That I did. On the second approach, while I was in the right downwind of runway 08, if that approach wasn't going to work out, then I would divert to a different airfield. I don't know miraculously how I did it, but I did pull off the landing. What I should have done at the very beginning is check the weather. I should have checked the tough message on the airport, the terminal area, which I didn't. Once I read that artist message, I should have technically already diverted to one of two other airfields that are nearby and wait there until the weather either calmed down or possibly even the next day. On this landing, I could have easily, because of the gusts, botched the landing and maybe crashed the airframe in any form, therefore also endangering my health. So this mistake already kind of takes it up a notch in the danger factor. My main idea with this video is I want to kind of show you that stuff happens, mistakes happen. The good thing is you have your memories, so you can kind of analyze your memories, what you did wrong and what you could have done better for next time, for the future. However, at the same time, I kind of feel like it is much better if I talk to other people about my problems. Especially if I can get a professional opinion from someone that has loads of experience up in the air. And therefore, I would like to invite all of you that have watched until this moment, please hop down into the comment section and leave a comment on what you think I could have done better. I'm totally open for feedback, even if it's just negative, but that is how you learn. And that is how you become a better pilot as well as a better person for the future. With that, let's hop into mistake number 4, also from my Oberschleißheim trip. If you look here, we're coming in on runway 07. And it's just way too high, that flare. See how I sag down basically? Did my flare way too high and I sagged down. It was a lot of force on the main landing gear. I checked it afterwards to see if everything was okay. Landings are difficult. They always will be. I don't think there is ever a part where you can confidently say my landings are always perfect. So that's why I decided to contact one of my flight instructors, hop back into the airplane and do some landing exercises. Thanks to the comment of Mike Shackelford 6662, I actually didn't realize that at the time, but I completely botched also the landing from my video of the Top Gun Maverick parody where I did a wheelbarrow landing. You can see here that I land with both my main landing gear and the frontal landing gear at the same time. That is called a wheelbarrow landing, which is dangerous as the frontal landing gear is not designed to withstand heavy loads and basically hits. I didn't actually realize that when I edited the video, nor when I was flying. So thank you to Mike Shackelford 6662 for pointing that out to me. In both of these scenarios of my landings, obviously, the one in Oberschleißheim and the wheelbarrow landing, in both cases I could have obviously damaged the main landing gear as well as on the second one the frontal landing gear. And a botched landing could always lead to damage to my health. I'm now going to show you my number one biggest mistake and most dangerous mistake that I've done back from my Verona trip in March, where you can kind of see that a lot of inexperience and insecurity kind of walled up together, and one mistake has led to a cascade of multiple mistakes, kind of like a chain reaction. Let me show you what I mean and just how dangerous I was. I would like to point out quickly, when I was headed down to Italy, what is typical for northern Italy is this kind of like smog and haze that's been going on. VFR conditions still apply, but they will severely limit my vision. So as you can see already right from the get-go, if you look outside the aircraft, there's almost nothing. There's not a lot that you can see. And if you look at the Sky Demon recording, you can see that at this moment I'm going way too fast. Almost 120 knots ground speed. I'm like 3 minutes away from the airfield and I'm still going 120. Why am I going this fast? Calling the station that I'm coming in for landing was also already quite late, which led me even closer to the airfield. And because of the current condition that was going on, I couldn't find the airfield. So, in my dumb inexperience, I kept looking on my tablet on Sky Demon, where's the airfield, and not looking outside where it is. Once I found out where it was, I was already on top of the airfield.
Actually, I'm completely above the airfield.
Think about it for a second. I was already in a position that no one knew I was in. That is already quite dangerous for everyone involved in the traffic pattern. If they don't know where I am, then crashes can occur or close encounters.
Delta Echo Lima Alpha Tango, your position?
Delta Echo Lima Alpha Tango. I'm currently on a runway heading 08, about 4 miles in direction west, turning around now to join the
Okay,
right
so number
base
one,
of runway
I say
26.
direction 08, direction runway 08. No, I was in direction of runway 26. I was going west. If I were to say I was going 08, then I was going east. Already that is already communication error on my position. Now, for obvious reasons, the aerodrome ATC is gonna ask, well, the question.
But why you are in that position? If you come from north, I will say you to report right base 26.
My mistake. I'm currently now in the right base of 26.
Here's the next thing. I say right base of 26. No, I'm in the right downwind of runway 26. You can see the airfield now actually there on the right.
At 1,500 feet.
Okay, anyway, can please leave our space due to parachute activities going on. Report Bussolengo, 3 miles west of the field. Pay attention under the traffic ultralight machine inbound Garda Lake.
He wants me to go west. That's all I needed to hear technically. If he says you want to go west, go at 270 degree vector and just fly west. But no, because he said Bussolengo, I'm like, I gotta find Bussolengo. Why? Just go west.
Where exactly again, Delta Tango?
9425, presta attenzione, è un traffico alle 2 ore 12.
I tried to ask him where it is and where he wants me to go again, but he had obviously other traffic to take care of, and he started talking Italian with other aircraft in the airspace. Now the dangerous part of this all is that there was parachuting activity going on. People were with one airplane being lifted up, and then on top of the airfield they jumped out of the airplane in order to land, in this case south of the airfield. I was getting very close to them. Damage to other people, third people. I was very close to actually damaging, possibly even killing someone in this case.
Delta Echo Lima Alpha Tango, report on final to 6.
We'll report on final to 6. Currently a beam of runway 26 at the right base and will soon have traffic inside. Delta Protect.
Okay, you are inside.
Again, I say right base even though I'm in the right downwind still. I just feel so embarrassed really of why I was such a bad pilot at the time. But it gets even worse.
Delta Alpha Tango currently on runway heading 26.
I
Too high.
didn't
need
even
to
get my
redo the traffic pattern.
approach correctly. I'm so far high on the final.
Okay, sir. So in that case, continue straight ahead. You have a parachute going on. So straight ahead inbound Bussolengo, the city at 3 miles west of the field.
Continue straight towards... I see the city of Passon, is that correct, Delta Alpha Tango?
Straight ahead, heading of the runway.
Straight heading of runway 26, understood. We'll continue to Bussolengo and then turn around, understood. I have the parachute inside.
See, I mean, why do I make this so complicated? There's so much talking going on which is completely useless. Just freaking fly west. You don't need to hear more. And this is definitely something that I'm going to take for the rest of my life. If he tells me fly east, north, south or west, just go that direction and don't question it. Because the big part is you can see a parachuter dropping off on the left side of me.
Delta Echo Lima Alpha Tango. Now, the last parachute is on ground. You can report joining right and down with 26. Pay attention. You have traffic Charlie 150 taking off 26. Will be maintain traffic pattern.
Roger, we'll join the right base for runway 26. We'll watch out for traffic.
Why do you say right base when you just said right downwind? Why?
On final for runway 26, Delta Alpha Tango.
Too high.
Delta Echo Lima Alpha Tango, land 26 on this correction. Now wind 280 for
Honestly,
knots.
for me, too high, too fast. I was over the middle of the runway, had to go for a go round. Possibly there was enough runway left, but no.
Delta Echo Lima Alpha Tango, land 26.
In this case though, the landing was okay, but 3 attempts. 3 goddamn attempts until I finally pulled off the landing.
Ah, shit.
Engine speed. Engine speed.
Okay.
Honestly, that was so bad.
Oh my god, I feel like shit right now.
You should.
I feel so bad right now at the end. It was so dangerous.
There you see, I even started crying at the end. What can I say? But let's try to find out what went wrong and what I could have done better. Point number 1. I could have checked the geographical location of the airfield. Point number 1 is, you see the airfield and you see how the river makes a really nice swing by it basically. And I could have spotted the river much easier than the runway itself. Second of all, I could have also memorized like kind of what are the nearby cities, that if you want me to go to Bussolengo or something else, then I know where I am, or where I have to go. Even if we wouldn't have studied the planes, when I came in for the airfields, I didn't know where I was, where the airfield was exactly. I could have just done some 360-degree spins until I orientate myself. Or I could have done for a left curve, could have gone towards the east and possibly then try to go for a long final approach of the runway 26 in this case. Even if once I was on top of the runway threshold, when I saw the runway, I could have still just turned around, entered the downwind, go into the base and then for the final. But most importantly of all of that, slow down. Don't go with 120 knots. You come comfortable flight with 70. It's not a race. It's definitely not a race of who comes down first. Next up, my communication, my positioning. I obviously went back and hit the books in order to find out where's the upwind, where's the downwind, where's the base, where's the final. If any of you are questioning why I don't quite know it, the thing is I mostly fly out of a controlled airspace in Innsbruck. What can I say other than it happened and that I tried to come back, study it all again in order to be better. If I would have had more experience with the flight design Charlie Tango, which I now do have because I've taken it out a few more times, the first landing approach should have been the correct one. In reality, if I would have landed in that moment, the whole further 10 minutes that I was in the air wouldn't have happened, and we could have been safely on the ground without endangering anyone else. I don't know what went wrong with me in this scenario. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel, support my Patreon if you can, and don't forget, leave down a comment and tell me what I could have done better. Thank you.